Thank you guys for coming back to another episode of Cobra TV, and today we've got a special guest. We've got JC from Novaquark, who is developing the game Dual Universe, the massive game that just seems like it came out of nowhere. And it's a game that is promising a massive amount of people in their server, and that's one of the things that drew me in. How you doing, JC?
Hey Cobra, nice being here and talking to you. Well, I'm doing fine. I'm at PAX. It's crazy here. There's non-stop interviews and people coming on the booth. So I'm very tired. And I almost lost, as I said, I almost lost my voice. I guess my voice sounds a bit funny for people who knows me. But anyway, I'm ready and happy to discuss things with you and tell you more about Dual Universe.
Awesome. I can't wait to learn more after seeing the footage that you guys are releasing and the talks of how many people that you can fit into your server. I'm extremely interesting. But first, I want to know, is this your first game, or how new are you to the gaming industry? What have you done in the past?
Oh, all right. So yeah, it is my first game, but the team is experienced and has shipped a lot of games. They come from Sony, from Ubisoft, from various French companies doing video games. So it's my first game, but I'm a long-time gamer, and I have, in my background, what is relevant is that I have a background in technology and science. So, I did a PhD in robotics and AI.
Oh, wow.
I directed the AI research lab, so I'm all about, complex technologies. And I did a prototype of this server technology that we're going to talk about in a minute, about 3 years ago. That was like a go, no go for us to say, can we actually pull this out and make this kind of game reality? And that was the starting point. It worked. So it actually was the starting point for me to create Novaquark. Before Novaquark, I did already another company. So let's say I'm an entrepreneur. And this company was in robotics. It was called Ghostai, and I sold it in 2012 to Aldebaran Robotics, the maker of the Now robot. Maybe some of your viewers are familiar with that. It's a pretty nice humanoid robot. So that was, my first experience as an entrepreneur. So that's my second company, but that's the first time it's in video game. But I know video game very, very well. I'm an avid gamer. I played everything. Well, a lot of PC titles, let's say, to narrate a little bit more. Dual Universe was born from the desire to push the boundaries of what is possible today in MMOs one step further. So that's the motivation. It comes from a gamer who wants to actually make something new.
Yeah, and I think that's what, it's missing in a lot of games, is creating an awesome environment and then filling it with people and having that, that random outcome of you really don't know what can happen. You boot up the game and it's just adding people into the mix. It just makes it so much more interesting, because it's not just AI, it's people, and you never know what people are going to do.
Actually, I know a lot about AI. That's my stuff. I can tell you that at the stage we are not capable of recreating proper creativity and really things that are going really to be surprising. And I think I like to be surprised in the game. I like to really be genuinely discovering things I was not expecting. That can come from a community of people interacting in the same world at the same time. So just to position the game for people who don't know it, there are two things to remember or to understand, which are setting us apart from, I think, everything else. The first thing is that the world where people play in Dual Universe is one single shard universe, a continuous single shard universe. That means that everybody plays in the same world at the same time. There's only one central server that we operate, and you connect to that. There's no instances, there are no zones or no local servers or things like that. There's one world. One example of that is EVE Online. That's the spirit. You have only one world. That is very important. It's a true, massively multiplayer online game. We're not talking about a few hundreds of people in the game world, but possibly millions of people. I don't know how many people we will have. It depends on how successful it is. And it will take a lot of time, I think, to go to maturity and have really a large number of people. That's fine. But that's what it's capable of. The second point that defines the game that is very important is that everything in the world is editable. You can modify the planets, you can mine things out of them, change the landscape, and of course you can create things like spaceships, cities, orbital stations, and there is no limit in size. There's practical limits because you cannot build things without. You need to collect the resources. That's what I mean. You need to have gather the things that are necessary. But from the technology point of view, there is no major difference between the way we handle a planet and the way we handle a big ship. So that is to say, this is a world for people to actually invent their stories, their collective stories, recreate civilizations. We hope to see, as I said, cities coming out, and there will be things about territory management, warfare, organizations, so a bit of politics going on. And we plan, this is also very important for people to understand that we have a vision for this game that we freely talk about, and there's a difference between the long-term vision and what we're going to ship in the first release, because it's an MMO and there will be several upgrades or expansions that will come, for example, every 6 months, I don't know, something like that, that will actually add features. I'll give you an example. We are talking very often about something that I find very cool, which are stargates that players will be able to craft and build and so on. There's a lot of things to say about stargates, but there won't be stargates in the first release of the game. It will come as an expansion. So we talk about the vision, right? And there's also what comes as features that is important to see. Voila, so this is setting the landscape, if you want. What is unique about Dual Universe? It's a really massively multiplayer online game where you can edit everything and build anything you want with voxel technology. So there's a lot of freedom for people to do what they want.
So now, when you're talking about how you could build anything that you want, are we talking about space stations that are so big that it would take a community to build? Or can just one player build anything as big as he wants? Or is it a community project?
I think the kind of things like the space stations that we have shown in the various videos, or that you can see in our booth at PAX if you're there, is something that I don't believe somebody could do alone. We have to be careful because some people are really impressive, right?
Yeah.
But the spirit is that it would probably require hundreds or even thousands of players maybe working on that. And it's starting with the issue of collecting the resources, because it's not free, to assemble this. You need to have the raw materials. You probably need to transform them, so you need a bit of an industrial infrastructure to produce the things that you need. It's not something that you will see in the game, probably not in the first 6 months. I don't think it's possible. From a practical point of view, but it's a possibility, and that makes it exciting to think that in this game, if we want, we can do that. It might take a lot of time, and it actually is going to create, I think, intrinsic quests, things that players they desire it. I think there will be players who wants to build the Death Star, for example. That's pretty obvious, and I think that will actually set in motion thousands of players who are going to contribute to this project and try to make it happen. So that's the way, for example, we look at quests. They should come from the players themselves, because they have dreams that they want to achieve in this world. And all we do and all we say is that, we have the technology so that you can make this dream come true if you put enough efforts in it. It's a game where we want people to feel achievement when they do certain things. It's not instant. It's not something that you get immediately. Even building a spaceship will be something rewarding. And after a time, you can just buy it on the market if you don't want to do that, of course. But the first person who's going to build the first spaceship, we want it to be an achievement.
That sounds amazing. Now, so far we have the community that's working together that you plan to have in the game. How's the PvP work? If you're out there and you're helping build a space station, can you just go postal and just start killing everybody around you?
Well, well, PvP is a very important part of the game. We don't want the game to be, free for all PvP where you log in the game and boom, you're killed. So the way we're going to handle the frontier is that there will be, first of all, everybody starts from the same place, which is called the Ark ship. There's a backstory that we can talk about if you want, that explains why you're here.
Okay.
And everybody starts from the Ark ship, and there will be a safe zone, probably about 20 kilometers large, around the Ark ship, where nothing bad can happen to you. So it's only you cross that safe zone that you enter into a PvP area, and that you have to be careful about what's going to happen. So that's to explain a little bit. Now I'm talking about the game vision now. Things that may not make it to the initial release, but the long run, there will probably be things like protection bubbles that will allow people to create a sort of shield volume around any place on the planet or in space that will be powered by energy, that will be extremely hard to break. So building the Death Star will probably involve making such a thing. Also hiring or having with you people defending the place with warships. You may also consider hiding the construction site, so doing it in some remote place, so that you keep this information secret. Of course, somebody is going to spy on you. So, you have to be careful about that. This is all emergent. People will have to be responsible for what they do. And it's how do you say that? I don't want this to be misunderstood, but it's an adult game, right? It's not. It's for things that involves responsibility and being aware of what are the consequences of what you do. That's what I mean.
I see. So it sounds like there's a lot of freedom in the game, and I'm going to sidetrack here because I just thought of something. These are life-size planets?
We have right now we have a planet that is 100 kilometers radius, and it's already very, very big. I think we're happy with that. The real estate that we're talking about is, should we do my calculations, but it's more than 100,000 square kilometers.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm talking in kilometers by the miles.
No, that's fine. It's fine.
It's almost the same, right? And so this is extremely vast. I don't think we really need much bigger planets. So there's also the technical challenge of loading the level of details. It's a bit technical, what I would say, but 100 kilometers seems to be a nice compromise for performance-wise, also for displaying the planets rapidly when you land. So I think we will stick with that.
That sounds good.
It doesn't break the gameplay. It doesn't bring something really significant to have much larger planets.
Would players be able to, there's a lot of players that like to play solo, even in PvP, not PvP games, but MMOs. Would a player be able to find a spot on the planet and build a little house or space station or a base or whatever and go unnoticed?
Yeah, I think so. I think that should be possible. It depends also so we don't know yet, what kind of scanning tools we will offer so that you could actually be scanned and detected.
Oh, yeah.
If we do that, we will probably add something like a countermeasure so that you can actually, hide yourself from these kind of scanners. So this I don't know. We're very happy to hear what the community think about this. The other thing you can do if you cannot be scanned is probably to dig underground. You can have something that is 1 kilometer underground. That's, I think, more difficult to locate you, provided that you are not detectable by scanners. And that also is something we are thinking about. For example, you see, is that we don't want everybody to live underground. We don't want. It would not be, I think, the way we envision the game, that everybody builds underground.
Yeah.
So we might actually balance that by saying that if you build underground, you need some specific equipment to breathe, like something like that, so that you actually have a trade-off. You can live underground, but that's going to be like a core to maintain your vital needs. So something like that. We're thinking about all these aspects that are very interesting from a game design standpoint, because you never had that in any other game, because it's
Right, exactly.
new, you know? So we will be surprised, and we will have to adapt also the gameplay with several iterations. That's why we're going to have an alpha and then a beta before we go to the initial release.
Now there is a story that you mentioned it just briefly. There's a story in this game that is written by
Alain Damasio.
Yeah, can you tell me a little bit about that story?
Yeah, so Alain Damasio is a very, very well-known writer of science fiction and fantasy in France. His work has been translated. It's started to be now visible outside of France, but he's really a fantastic writer, and he helped us to construct a backstory and make something that is lively. So he wrote a short story that you can download on our website, which is about what you experience after you arrive on this planet. So what's the backstory? The premise is fairly classical in a sense. You have a neutron star that is going to arrive in the solar system, and it's going to destroy the Earth. That's going to happen in 500 years from now, and humanity is starting huge projects to build arc ships to basically take as many people out and colonize a new world. So that's what happens. And then you step into these arc ships, and you go for 10,000 years travel in cryo sleep into these ships, and then you arrive on this planet, which is called Alioth, where you are about to restart or reboot civilization from scratch. So that's the backstory. So, and Alain Damasio has written a short story, as I said, that takes place as you wake up in the arc ship and you're about actually to start the game. So that's the backstory. We don't want to go too much into story afterwards. There will be things that I'm not going to talk about now that exist in the world, and we'll make it a bit mysterious. So that's why I don't talk about it. But the core idea is that the story that's going to happen after you step out of the arc ship is the players to make.
Right. So the story is there to give you reason for being there, and to set up your own adventure, and what you do from there on. And is your story.
There is no end game. There is no no goal to reach, and that's it, and you're done. It's just completely open, and I think that's really cool. In fact.
Yeah, that definitely does sound interesting. You guys do release a lot of videos showing the development of your game, and I think that's important. I once thought that maybe keeping games a secret until the release, or showing just a little bit until release, was a good idea, because sometimes we see too much of the game. When we finally get it, there's nothing exciting to see that we didn't already know. But I think that doing something like that kind of lets hype get too high, and you start to fill your imagination. You start to fill in the gaps of what you don't know, and that could actually hurt the game when it's released. How transparent is your development going to be, and how real is your gameplay that we're seeing is going to be the exact same game that we're going to be playing when we finally get it?
All right. So everything you see on the videos is really captures from the clients as it is now.
Okay.
So the point is, we want to be totally transparent. We want to actually engage with the community and have as much interaction as possible, show what we have in a totally honest way. You will see certain videos have issues with frame rate, for example. It's okay, we show you what we have. This is pre-alpha. And actually we want to demonstrate that we have the kind of technology that comes with the claims we're making, because it's very, very hard to do this, right? So we have to communicate and to show people, because otherwise they will not believe us, and rightfully. So we want to do this. And as I said, if you were at PAX, you could actually have seen it running on our laptops. This is real, this is happening. So we want to be completely transparent. We want to interact with the community. We have a Kickstarter going on the 7th of September. So I think with that kind of model, you have to be completely transparent. You have to show what you do and be honest about it. We are very excited by the technology we have made. So if you look at what we have shown, it's pretty outstanding. Now we have to make most of the gameplay we're talking about now. We have the building gameplay that is in place. The rest is something we have to work on. So I'm completely honest on that. Always said it. I think the very hard part was the technology. That's why we started from there, and now we have to do this gameplay. It's not easy, but it's something that we can do. It's just a question of time and money. But we are going to be able to do this. A crafting system, we'll be able to do it, right? So we want to show the hard parts, the technology. So transparency is the key word, and also I insist again about this difference between the game vision, what we would like to have in the long run, what we will have as a first release. It, again, is to go against this tendency of having people imagining things that will not make it to the first release.
Right.
Keeping in mind that, again, this is an MMO. It's not like we ship the game and goodbye. It's going to keep evolving over time, and we want to make a long-term relationship with the gamers, so that we're going to improve these things over time, and add new things.
That's good.
It's an interesting model, actually, because, for example, sometimes people ask us, how many different types of environment of planets there will be. So we will make certain numbers of those. We call this biomes, like, for example, different types of forests. We'll do what we can. But the good thing is that, as people are exploring the universe further and further away, with this Stargate gameplay that will not be in the first release, but will come later,
right.
The size of the universe will grow, the size of the accessible known universe will grow, and we will have time actually to add more and more strange and original new planets the further away you are from the starting planets. So this is also a way for us to stage the developments, and it's kind of nice, it's kind of cool.
Oh, sounds very interesting, and I think people will understand as long as it's always stated that we're going to release with these features, and we're going to release these features later on. As long as people know that going in, it's usually never a problem when people when developers are upfront, they're honest. It's usually not a problem when they know what they're walking into.
Yeah, and they can trust that we're working on it.
Yes.
I know that there's a continuous effort. So, yeah. And that actually maybe connects to something I think you wanted to talk about, which is the business model and the subscription-based model that we have in mind.
Yes, I definitely want to talk about that. You guys tweeted me a while back about the subscription price, and tell me a bit about the model.
Yeah. So, obviously, we will have a huge amount of servers. This will be a huge supercomputer, basically, that we need to maintain, plus the support that comes with it. We want to provide good quality support to people playing the game. So we need to find a way to generate a stream of revenue. We did a dev blog that explains exactly the different models, what they bring in, what they bring out.
Yeah, I read that.
Why we were in favor of the subscription-based model, which is basically the same model like EVE Online. If you look at EVE Online, and we are going to do that also, there is a mechanism that allows people also to use time coupons within the game. I don't know if you're familiar with that. They call it Plex. We will call it DAC. And the idea is that you can buy such a coupon from Novaquark, and that is an item you have in inventory, and you can sell it on the in-game markets to get in-game money. So you pay, let's say, $15 to give a price, and I don't know if that's going to be the final price, but just to be concrete. So you pay that, and in exchange you get, let's say, for example, 200 millions of the in-game currency.
Okay.
That's something that newcomers may want to do to get a first bit of money in-game. That's a possibility that is given to them. On the other side of the equation, you have players that are creating a lot of value in the game, that are generating, I don't know, let's say 2 billion every month. And every month they go on the market and they buy this time coupon from this other guy, and they buy it for 200 millions, and they actually use the coupon themselves to convert it into 1 month of game time. So in effect, those guys who are contributing a lot, they don't pay anymore because they buy this coupon with in-game money that they make from the activity they do in the game.
Okay.
So for them, it's effectively free to play. The thing to understand is that the price, the conversion between dollars or euros and the in-game money is not fixed because we have realistic markets with an equilibrium based on supply and demand. So this price is going to fluctuate and evolve, as it is the case, for example, in EVE Online with the equivalent system they have. So it's subscription based, but you can play for free if you are contributing to the game to the point that you're actually making enough money in game. I think it's kind of a nice model. The fact that you are also paying this subscription sort of barrier, we think it's going to help also to have a community that is more involved in the game, more serious about it. So as a serious player, you may like that, actually, that you have this kind of filter. And the final thing you can reason about is, in terms of how much hours of fun you get for your dollars. I think the kind of price that we have in mind, around $15 is going to make it very worthwhile. If you buy today, a game that is $60 and $59.99, you get in the best cases maybe 30-60 hours of fun out of it, right? So it gives you an idea of what is the standard. And I think with the $15 playing, every day with your friends online, trying to build a Death Star, you're gonna have a lot of fun. So this is another way to look at the price of this.
So your projected price, it's not set in stone, but your projected price of $15, that is that hours, or is that just for a full month?
It's a full month.
Okay, all right.
You pay that and that's it. You're not bothered anymore with anything. You are in the game and you play the game.
Okay,
that's it, and that's the end of. We are not going to harass people like in a pay-to-win model to actually limit the gameplay so that it becomes painful to the point that you really are compelled to pay more. And these are things that happen otherwise. There may be cosmetic items. That is a possibility. That people could buy maybe some outfits. I don't know. We may be doing this, but the idea is that you definitely don't need it, and it's not something that's going to be impacting the gameplay in any way. So once you have either your time coupon or you have paid your subscription, you're in the game world, and you can forget about the real world. You can forget about real money. You can forget about everything and just be inside your universe and make your story
for the month.
For the month, yeah.
Okay. Now, how difficult? I know this is going to be kind of hard for you to answer, but how difficult is it going to be to mine or whatever and use the economy to get the game money to purchase your next month free? I mean, is that going to be a super high difficulty level? A lot of game time, a lot of devotion.
In fact, it's a question that is probably impossible to answer.
Yeah, I kind of figured.
Yeah, well, because the idea is that the price is going to evolve according to supply and demand. Mm-hmm. So if there's a lot of demand for this coupon and there's a little offer, the price will go very, very high. Right? That's how it works. Now, if a lot of people are buying coupon, and comparatively not so many people want to buy them, then the price is going to go down and it will be cheap. And there will be an equilibrium in between these extremes that depends exactly on what people want to do. I think it will probably be challenging to gather all the money. So it's not like you come in a game and after 1 week you're rich enough to play for free. I don't think so. It's going to be more like once you have advanced in the game and you are really more contributing. I don't know. I cannot give you a number or anything. You understand it's dynamic, so it will actually reflect. What is the strength on both sides, on supply and demand, and how things are equilibrating. How much money is in the game globally, so how much people can afford also. So this will all be dynamic and evolving.
Yeah, I kind of figured that question would be almost impossible to answer at this point. So the biggest worry that I've seen on the internet concerning subscription games is that a lot of people get into it. They get fully invested into it. They pay their month. They've been paying it for the last 6 months, maybe the last 9 months. And then all of a sudden the game goes free to play with microtransactions. Now, that's the thing that's got a lot of people scared when it comes to subscription games, because then you're like, well, look how much money I spent in this game. Now it's free.
Yeah. Well, that's definitely not our plans. So
right, and I know that things always happen.
What will happen is that there will be some way to try the game. So there will be players that are playing a sort of a trial.
Right.
That may last for a certain amount of time, or maybe forever, that they can try the game as long as they want, but in restricted areas and with very limited gameplay access, and everything will be limited.
Ooh, I like that idea. I mean, that would give people incentive. They get in there, and as long as there's something fun to play, and then they realize, oh man, there's so much more that I'm missing out there, and I can see that.
That's it. So that's the things we are thinking about. But no, there's no plan whatsoever to go to free to play with microtransactions and things like that. As I said, the only thing that could happen is that we have some cosmetic items.
Yeah.
Because that's a possibility that some people like to have. So we definitely think about that. But what can I say? I mean, I cannot swear. I suppose that it depends also on the success of the game. If there's really a lot of people in the game, and there's this subscription that works, and we are paying for the expenses we have, will be good. There's no reason why we would change.
Right, exactly.
Look at EVE Online. They are doing that for 12 years, and they're still there.
Yeah, they're doing very well. And I'm not a subscription type gamer, but from what I've seen from you guys, you're really bending me into possibly, getting a game, paying a subscription for a game. I wasn't when I first seen it, but as I watch your updates and everything, it's raising my eyebrow. I'm like, okay, well, now wait a minute.
What is really, really cool for us is to see that when we demo the game.
Yeah.
So as I said, we are currently at PAX. Everybody who sees it likes it. Really, it's 100% conversion because what we have is very exciting. I think it's an old dream of gamers, me included. Obviously, I always wanted this kind of game, and I think this old dream is something that you can feel in other games that are a lot talked about currently.
Right.
There's something in the background, and people are expecting that kind of game to happen. This huge world where you're free to live completely anything and to role play whatever you want. So I think we are about to deliver it. Actually, that's what we work very, very hard to. And it all is about, to start with, it's all about technology, because you need to do things differently.
Right.
The standard MMO tech is not. It was fine 10 or 15 years ago, but it's not going to scale. It cannot do what we do. We have completely redefined the way we manage everything related to MMO. Plus the fact that the world is editable, so there is this voxel technology we've made so that it can also actually work with any scale. All these things, they are not obvious, and they are making a big difference once you have them.
All right, so you mentioned a Kickstarter that's going up September when? 7th?
7th.
7th.
Yeah.
Okay, what are the benefits for backing?
Well, there will be, as you know, there are different range of benefits.
Right.
So there's all sorts of items that you can get from supporting, and one of the important things, obviously, is that you will also get these time coupons I was mentioning.
Okay.
The fact that you can actually play the game, and it will be much cheaper than the $15 I was talking about. So we make it worthwhile to actually support us that way. There will be also different status on the forums. For the much more important backing, you will also have physical goods like T-shirts or things like that. So just have a look, and we try to make it worthwhile to actually support this and help us to get stronger. That's the message. We need to have strong support from the community, so we can either the game, that would be wonderful, or we are stronger in negotiations with third parties, so we can actually complement the financing. But I think this strong position, saying we have this community, so we can actually drive the evolution of the game the way we all want. And not according to some investor or publisher's agenda. So that's the goal of it.
I love the fact that you guys are really looking to the community to help build this game, as far as what it should be structured into, rather than having your own goal in mind and just ignoring everything and doing whatever you want. It's really interesting that you're actually going to be listening to the community.
But because what we do is some of the things we do are very new, and that is very difficult to finance. Innovation is very hard to finance. So I think that this is a wonderful thing, the Kickstarter, and also this alpha beta model that we see in indie games, so that we can release the game early, get the support from the community, and make it together with the community. This is a wonderful model that enables innovation to be developed. That's really fantastic, and you see it a lot with the indie games. I mean, this is where really new stuffs are coming from.
Exactly, I agree with you 100%.
So we are definitely completely new in terms of MMO. Most MMOs are more or less copies of World of Warcraft, right? Because the people with the big money, they say, well, we want to do the same thing that already worked. We want the same more of the same thing, right?
Right.
So when you come and you say, well, guys, we're going to change everything. We're going to make a new genre of MMO. They freak out. But, it's, I don't know, but I mean, it's difficult to sell because they have to understand. And I think you need to be a gamer to really understand why this is exciting. And sometimes, they just don't play games. So they don't understand what's going to work, what's not going to work. While for me, for you, it's obvious that it's cool.
Yeah.
So let's do this together. That's the message.
I love that. I tell you, man, the more you talk, the more interested I get in dual universe. I'm going to ask you a really awkward question.
All right.
Okay. What does your game have that makes it stand out from Star Citizen? Because it does kind of seem like it runs along the line of the same path.
Yeah, in Star Citizen, there is a lot of pre-made content that is outstanding. That is really beautiful. And as you understand, I mean, we are all about user-generated content. So we don't have any spaceship in Dual Universe as such. The notion and the concept of spaceship doesn't exist within the game code.
Oh, wow.
You are building a thing that happens to have engines and cockpit and whatever, and that is obviously is a spaceship, right? And that makes it a spaceship. So this is a huge difference, is that the content of the game will come from the community 100%. I don't know also how far Star Citizen is about the MMO side of things. To be honest, I really don't know. I heard that they are trying to make it more or less, huge universe where people can play, but there's also these arena places where you go into some instances, I think. But I mean, I may be completely wrong. So it may also be another difference, is that we have this continuous single shard technology where everybody plays in the same world at the same time. Big sandbox. That might be a key difference, I suppose.
That is definitely interesting. I know that Star Citizen does have like a lot of missions that you could do co-op with your friends and stuff like that. But it does seem like your game actually relies on the interactions of yourself and others to carry the experience. And to me, that's what I think so far in looking at both of the games. And I'm not trying to pit two games together.
The Star Citizen will be a wonderful game in itself, no matter the differences. When you build the content as a game developer, you are going to do something fine-tuned that is extremely entertaining and very well, fine-tuned, right? So I think as far as ship combat and the kind of quests that you will have in Star Citizen, it will be really cool. So there will be reasons to play both games for different reasons. They are very different, I think. And so because they are different, they are both interesting in different ways, I think.
Yeah, exactly. And that's one of the things I try to portray on my channel, or the things that I try and say on my channel, that there are tons of space games out there, and each and every single one of them, maybe at first glance, might look exactly like the next one, but there's something that makes each and every one of them much, much different from the next.
Yeah, and so for us is one world where you rebuild civilization together. That's the pitch.
That's good. That's a good pitch.
Civilization. There is about emergent gameplay, politics, territory, etc. And together it's about MMO, right?
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about the territories. How does that work exactly?
There's a lot of details that we have to
flesh out.
Yeah. But the core idea is that we will divide the surface of planets into tiles that are about 1 kilometer in radius or diameter, and those tiles you can actually claim them using something that we call a territory unit that you can craft or buy. It will be extremely expensive, hard to make, so it's not like you would have 21, 25 or 30 of them in your pocket easily. And so you can deploy this territory unit, and that will actually make the tile yours or your organization. So you can do this in the name of the organization. And once you've done that, you have access to control on certain things in this territory, like who has the right to mine, who has the right to build stuffs on it, who has the right to enter. It will probably be, for the right to enter, it will be something that you can bypass, but then you will be flagged as low. That will actually get you fired on automatically by some defenses or things like that, So, but for example, the right to build or to mine will be strongly enforced, I think, so that you can actually guarantee that your territory is controlled by you or your organization.
So essentially, players can take over a whole planet.
Well,
as a group or a team, or
it's the same thing. Like how big can you build stuffs? I talked about more than 100,000 square kilometers on the surface of this particular planet that you start with.
Yeah.
That's a lot of territory units. So if you think about, it won't be something you want to do, because not every territory will be interesting. It's something you have to balance. We make it, as I said, very hard to build these territory units. So you will think twice, for strategic reasons, for geographic reasons, or for resource reasons. That would be the reasons why you want to have a territory deployed. And then those territories can be, in principle, there will be something, you can take them, you can actually destroy the territory unit or hack it. This is the long-term vision. Again, it's maybe not going to be available on the first release of the game, but the way we want to make this is into something you can compete to access, and then you will have to defend. It will become a strategic issue to have a territory on the planets. On the planets, there will be, of course, several planets. So this scales to not only the first initial planet, but others.
I see. It sounds very interesting. Is there anything else that we did not talk about or cover that you would like to bring up before we end the interview here?
Well, there's a lot of things we could say, about the right and duty management system, which is the thing we imagine to orchestrate how you can share certain assets with others. Simply. There's also a lot of things we could say about Lua scripting that allows you to actually script your ship, make interesting behaviors like that.
Really?
keeping in mind that a ship is something you can make a blueprint of, and then you can use this blueprint to mass produce it into factories, and so you don't necessarily need to be a shipbuilder or Lua scripter to benefit from the work of a certain, let's say, minority of players who are going to make it for the others. So this is a core concept. The market is going to will allow people to specialize in certain activities. Basically, you will sell what you're good at, and you will buy all the rest. That's like in real life. I don't know how to build a car, but I have other skills that I make money from, and then I can buy a car from the guys who know how to do it, right?
Oh, wow.
So there's a lot of things we could talk about the game vision, how we have all these ideas about gameplay. We have a dev blog, so it's all about text. So if you like to read a lot of things, just go on the dev blog, devblog.duelthegame.com, and there's a lot of things we discuss about, as I said, right and duty management system, territory, Lua, all sorts of things are discussed there. So I really encourage people to have a look at that.
Okay, yeah, definitely send me the link so I can put it in the description of the video.
Yep. And we start to have a quite impressive community, considering that we are a small indie game. We have lots of people on the forums discussing. We launched a community website where you can actually start to create your organization and start to recruit for it. And the last time I checked, there were more than 400 organizations declared.
Wow, that is impressive.
Yeah, an incredible role play. I mean, you look at the description of some of those organizations, it's incredibly detailed. Some of them made recruitment videos that are outstanding. So this is very exciting. So I really encourage everybody that is interested to join this community and discuss. We listen to everything that people say. We spend a lot of time on that. We can still afford it. Maybe if it gets so huge, we can't do it anymore. But at the time, we do that. And we enjoy that very much, to have all the feedback, all the questions and suggestions that people can make about the game. So see you there.
Definitely. Man, you've really piqued my interest. Send me a link to that as well. I would like to go check out the community.
Sure.
And see what everybody's all these what do you call them, organizations?
Yeah, because it's not guild or it's not corporations, it's a generalization of that. This is another interesting thing that we talk about, by the way, in the dev blog, is that we have this sort of abstract model of an organization that you can specialize into a democratic nation, a dictatorship, or a corporation, or guild of pirates, or whatever. So there's a sort of also emergent aspect. You see, the game design principle is always the same. We make small building blocks that you can assemble into anything. So we try to apply that also to organizations, so that there's not a fixed frame for people to organize their internal politics, but you can actually define that. We will provide templates for people who don't want to do that, of course. So you have ready-to-use types of organizations, but the possibility is there for you to make something new.
Absolutely amazing. Well, when are we expecting to be able to get into this in any fashion? Yeah,
well, so I'm going to talk about the plan we hope to achieve. It might be, if everything goes well, that's what we should have. We should have an alpha that should be available, let's say, in the first half of next year. A beta about 1 year later. And if everything goes well, I would like to have the first initial release of the game at the end of 2018. So this is, in the future. We still, as I said, a lot of work to do. Right, it's not like the game is going to be out in 3 months from now. But in the meanwhile, we are going to listen to the community, as I said, and interact with people. And we would like to have people in alpha as soon as possible. But we have to make it really good, because, we have only one chance. So we will take the time it needs so that it's good. And hopefully we should have something, as I said, alpha, first part of 2017. That's the goal.
Okay. Well, JC, I am super glad that I was able to sit down and talk to you, because you have definitely changed my mind a lot about, my fear for subscription games. I mean, yeah, you've definitely changed my mind. This sounds very interesting, and I wish you guys the best of luck. Count me in.
Great.
I'm definitely in. And make sure you send me the link to the Kickstarter.
Yes,
and
yes, sure.
all the other links so that the community here on Cobra TV can check you out.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much for having me, and I hope I explain things and make things more clear for everybody. And yeah, hope to see you soon in Dual Universe.
Yes, definitely. All right. Thank you, JC.
Thank you. Bye-bye.